We are Brightside Theater.
Hey, home theater nerds, welcome to the Brightside Home Theater Podcast, the home theater podcast that's all about the experiences, the sights,
the sounds,
the scenes.
Woo! We nailed it.
Yes, first time in weeks, it feels like.
Yeah, no, we got it last week. That's 2 weeks in a row we did well.
Oh, hey, we're on a roll.
As I was speaking, I was like, oh my God, I got to get this queued up. So I'm like pushing buttons and talking at the same time. Oh, that's never good. I'm not multitasking, ambidextrous type of guy, you know. Throw a piece of gum in my mouth, I'll fall right on the floor. So, how you been, Steve?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
That's
I'm good.
Nice
glad
segue
to
right
be back.
there.
Yeah, no, all good.
Yeah.
It's glad to be back. It's it's been a busy week. I had a very long weekend at the police stations. And I had about 2 hours sleep from Friday through till Monday. So it was a really tricky weekend. But I'm just about catching up with the sleep now. So, if you hear snoring during this, Deej, it's me. And just, give me a shout and I'll wake
Don't
up.
take it personally.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Steve, you're not the first person to fall asleep on me.
I'm sure that's not true-ish.
Whether I'm talking or otherwise.
Yeah, well, hey, John.
Hello. Hello.
As your lawyer, I'd suggest you not go any further with that, Deej.
Yeah.
Just say no comment.
No comment. Okay.
Yeah,
That's not easy for me to say.
True.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, but it's been it's been a good week, and there's been some interesting news. Just quickly, Deidre, before I forget, because we were just talking off air, from a retail company over in the UK, who is basically the only high street retailer in terms of that does things like vinyl, DVDs, Blu-ray, and 4K, called HMV. Stands for His Master's Voice. And they're the only one really left that specializes in this stuff. And their sort of managing director, CEO, whatever you want to call it, gave an interview this week in which he said the sales of physical media are going well. And he specifically signaled Blu-ray and 4K discs for being one of the generators of that increase in profits. So for all us people here, then that's good news, and hopefully bodes well for the future and everything else. So yeah, that was good news. That hit over the weekend. So yay.
Basically, it's if they produce it, we will buy it type of thing. Is that what they're trying to say? Like
crazy, isn't it? Who would have thought?
Crazy? Like yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing. It's like let's see, they put the money into it, they invested into it, they put out more product. I think that's why sales are up. They're putting out more product, right?
Yeah.
And we're buying it. So
if you build it,
they're going to go
up.
Yep. If you build it, exactly. That's where I was going, but not so on the nose, but okay.
Well,
so
sorry. Don't quote.
But that's awesome. Yeah. And that's, well, it's encouraging that, and they're like, okay, let's make more. And then they'll probably make more. And then they'll see a line where it's like, okay, they're not buying everything now. Because if you oversaturate, and then it takes the nuance out of it. So there's a fine line there. And I don't think they're there yet.
No.
But yeah, that's really good news. It's for
us.
Because
we talked again, that few weeks back, didn't we, about, the people saying it's the death of home theater and it's not going to, it's going away. And yet this is the kind of news that you're looking for. You're always hunting for nuggets of good news, aren't you? Really, well, in this day and age, hence the bright side.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're always hunting for those little bits of good news, and this is definitely good news because it does suggest that there is the market is still, if not thriving, alive and well, and is at least kind of sustaining itself. So that is good news, and I'm careful how I say it, bucks the trend of what you keep hearing, which is year on year, it's sliding and eventually it'll go away. And yet this is good news. So I was pleased when I saw it, that's for sure.
It's nice to see an uptick, especially if it's, I think a lot of times you come out of what would maybe in the future, they'll consider it the golden age of like physical media and home theater, where it really just peaked. But just because you're on the downside, it doesn't mean it's going to bottom out. It just means that sales aren't going to be as great as they once were, but it's still profitable, and it's still people are still making money, and maybe it's not as popular as it once was because not everybody has to buy it now. You can get everything through streaming, and not everybody cares. But what's interesting about this news is, oh, wow, there are a lot of people that care because they don't have to buy it. You can get all of this stuff pretty much through streaming, but yet there are more people like us than they even realized. And that, to me, that's what's really exciting. And it's,
Well, it's interesting. And along with that news, so that broke over the weekend. And today on Dark Horizons, I happen to see that Apple have now said they're going to start pulling back on their streaming stuff. Their expenditure on their movies and their TV shows is going to be scaled back because the streaming revolution that they thought was coming is not delivering what they wanted it to do. So obviously we're talking two little small bits of things that may not correlate to one another. This might just be pie in the sky, but over here we have increase in physical media sales, and over here we have producers going, maybe streaming isn't worth this billions and billions of dollars we're investing in it. Maybe this does suggest there's a balancing, there's an equalization happening where those of us that really like this stuff, we buy it, and if we don't, we're not streaming it. So it's interesting. So yeah, who knows? There may not be any correlation at all, but it could be.
See, here's where I think it's interesting for where you get the correlation.
Yeah,
I think they put the money into streaming, thinking that you basically create this infrastructure, and we can deliver it quicker, faster, and to the people in the home because that's what they're asking for. And now we charge a monthly fee, and what they're doing is what they've created is an environment where we're demanding a blockbuster a month for our $15 monthly fee or whatever it is. And they can't keep up with, not every single one can keep up with that, right?
Yeah.
It was like streaming started with, it went to the theaters. They got your $15 at the theater. Then it goes to Blu-ray. They got our $24 or whatever, $19.99 for the Blu-ray. Then they put it out to streaming, and then anybody that wanted it there for their monthly fee, they got it.
Yeah.
Instead, they went the other direction and said, we're going to start at the cheap end and then work it back. That doesn't work. To me, it's like, that doesn't work. You need to have both. You need to have do the big blockbuster and then tell me it's going to eventually be at streaming someday, and you'll make. But then also you have to do the cheaper stuff, like maybe a series or a comedy or something like that, like Ted Lasso. I don't think Ted Lasso costs what House of the Dragon cost to make, right?
Yeah.
But it sustains Apple. But HBO is like, oh my God, we got to spend $1 billion to get me to have that monthly fee. And now more people are paying. They're just coming in for the month and leaving. And it's, they'll figure it out. But
yeah, well, this article on Dark Horizons talks about how Apple, they've had their critical success. I mean, they've had their big name director Scorsese and everybody else coming in and working with them. So they've had what they wanted, which is they wanted a splash of streaming income. They've had big name directors. They've had awards, critical success. Ted Lasso is one of the things mentioned, and Succession and all, not Succession, Severance and all these other things. And yet it's not enough, because at the end of the day, you come down to that bottom line. And it's like, okay, so you've got awards. Yeah, you've got really good directors. Brilliant. But how much money have you made? None. How much money have you lost? Billions.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, why did they lose billions? Because Scorsese and Spielberg and even the Russo brothers, they went to all these people go to streaming. And it's not because, especially Scorsese and Spielberg, who said streaming was crap. It's not real cinema. It's not this. And that was in 2014, right? And here they are now there. It's not like they're these artists that are like, well, I want to use streaming as my canvas. I've seen The Light. No, The Light was a suitcase full of money. And you can't that's how you got them in. And they were like, yeah, sure, I'll give you something for streaming. There you go. You can't keep up with that model. You can't just keep overpaying people and hoping that they keep coming, because eventually you're going to be out of money. And it was what was nice is streaming was good because they could underpay somebody like a starving artist that really wanted their stuff out there and be like, look, we'll underpay you and we'll put it out. If it gets big, then maybe you get the big contract from Sony or some other big studio, right? It got you recognition. Well, now they're paying big money to Scorsese, and all that did was empty their bank accounts and changed our perception. We're like, well, now I need that on Netflix. Oh, we can't keep that up, people.
Well, they did, didn't they? They started by greenlighting movies that the studios wouldn't, the big studios wouldn't. So because they talked about the $50-60 million movie, like that's a cheap film, but a $50-60 million movie that the studios weren't making, because they were saying, well, no, we want franchises, we want tentpole movies, that's what we want. So Netflix would come in and go, well, look, David Fincher, we'll make The Killer for $50 million. And we'll do that because no one else is going near it. So we'll do that. And so those were the kind of the smaller movies that Netflix built their house on. But you're right. Now suddenly you get these tales of, oh, it's $300 million to make The Gray Man, and it was $250 million. So they're spending big studio tentpole money on a $15 a month subscription. Whatever it is now over there. It's crazy.
And I can watch it 30 times in a month. I can have 30 people over to watch it. You know what I mean? It's going backwards. One that I would like to mention, because I do believe this is the case, is Snyder. Snyder didn't go to streaming. He didn't go to Netflix for the money alone. He went there because they allowed him to make it the way he wanted.
Yes.
I will come to you if I can make my cut, my version. And they're like, yes, okay, but you have to do our version first. He's like, fine, as long as you're going to put out my version. You can love him, hate the movie, love the movie, whatever. It doesn't matter. But he did it for an artistic reason, which I think is unique in this day and age for this type of thing, because the studios clearly weren't letting him.
Well, quite exactly that. That's the thing. But they've grown beyond that. They seem like, as you say, they've given us this sweet stuff, and now we're not going to go back. And if they don't give that to us, we'll just cancel. And so they're in this really awkward financial position, aren't they? Yeah, where it's like, what do we do?
We're not. We're going to get it one way or another. The customers always, like, we win in all of this because they're fighting over our dollar, right? And it's like, so we win, and it's, somebody will get our money. Somebody will produce something. Well, quite.
But again, as we've said before, Deej, there is that little cash cow sat there on the corner. Cows. We'll talk more about those later. There's a little cash cow sat there, which is dump it all on physical media. Release Greyhound, Apple. Release Masters of the Air. Even though we weren't massive fans of it, we'll buy it. Release
Greyhound actually should have been.
Yeah, well, quite, because they bought it, didn't they, from Sony or whoever it was they bought it from.
I'm not sure it was Sony, but yeah,
I think
was it Sony?
I think so. But all these movies, Netflix, come on, where's Extraction 1 and 2? Where's Six Underground? Where is my favorite Army of the Dead? Talking about Snyder, just release them, chuck them on disc. How much can that cost you, and how much could it make you? Right, because you'll call it your Netflix signature series, call it gold editions. Give it what you like.
The Disney Vault, as much as you want. Call it. We're pulling it out of the Apple Vault. Call it whatever you want. Steal it right from Disney. Going, we're pulling this one out of the vault for you. Here's Greyhound. And be like, a
here's
vault.
The Apple
it's
tree.
Only been 4 years.
yeah. I mean, you could
hire Geraldo Rivera. Get that movie out of the vault. But crap, it's just tar.
Quite Heaven's Gate. No. But it's so you'd think that all these things that money's just sat there. So maybe someone somewhere at the back of the room in these board meetings will go, why don't we release it on disc?
And then why don't we listen to those Bright Side guys?
Yeah. Let's get them in.
They seem like they cut their crap together.
Yeah, we'll pay them
get a
600 million a year,
right? But okay.
Yeah, well, that's all right. We get other people in for that. We know what we can and can't do.
Yeah, exactly. I know what I can't do. A lot.
Yeah, let's not do overreach. Yeah. All right. Well, let's say hi to the chat because everyone is jumping in. And there's some funny things.
Let's get to the chat's going crazy as usual.
Well, we jumped on and just started chatting, and then we didn't do our usual, which is say hi to everyone kind of before we start.
Yeah.
So Captain AC3 is first in. So fair play. Hi, Captain. Oh, Captain, my Captain. And
Red 5 standing by. I saw that second one.
Nice.
I think he wants to change his name again. He don't want to be Captain AC3 anymore. He wants to be Red 5.
Red 5.
It'll be like Prince. He just keeps changing his name.
The artist formerly known as Captain AC3.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so
see what
Steve
happens when you're the first in, you get made fun of the most. There we go.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that'll teach you. Yeah. And Paul Hurt's in. Hiya, Paul. Dom's in. Hi, Dom. Let's see. There's absolutely loads. Nathan Reed. Do we know Nathan? Nathan New? If you are Nathan, welcome. Forgive us if you're not. But yeah, nice to see you anyway. Thanks for dropping by. We've got Old School Kung Fu Films is back. Hey, guys, thanks for coming back. We mentioned him last week, and stay tuned because we're going to be talking about an old school kung fu film in a little while. So we've got Bill McAllister's in, who also dropped in from X as well, I think. He dropped in very briefly. Van Gool's in. Hi, Van Gool. Who else we got? There's a load more as well. They were going backwards and forwards for ages. So Bill, we have got Ted Bill. No, this is like the generation game, isn't it?
Van Gool.
We said that one. Did I say that?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm doing stuff in the behind the scenes.
Yeah, Marcus Beeb's here as well. He's in. Mike Wright's in. Hi, Mike. Jordan's in. The whole world. We've got. Am I missing anybody else? Oh, Mark Hader's in. Hi, Mark.
Mike Wright. Did you say that?
VJ's in. Yeah. VJ's in too. Right, the whole world's here. Hi, guys.
Yeah.
Rockstar's just dropped in as well.
Hey,
so
Steve,
we're all here.
how you doing?
Yeah. Never gets old. Old.
I just saw something about DJ and Kaleidoscape. Nathan, there we go. There it is. Does DJ do referral for K-Scape? I need one for the credit and $100 for movies that he won't have to buy for the show. I don't know. I have never done a referral. I don't know what that means. I don't have any sponsor. Is that a promotion that they're running? Because I honestly I don't even know what that means. Like if you say like DJ sent me, just say DJ sent me. I don't know. And if it gets you
$100 worth of movies,
it would. I need one for the credit. Does he get the credit?
No, because I gave him get that. So
he must get a credit and 100 for movies that
you get $100 worth of movies that you won't have to buy for the show. I assume that's what that means.
Not really
okay.
Sure.
Nathan says 100 credit for both of us.
Oh, okay. I don't know how that works, Nathan. Let me know. Email me. Let me know. I'll be happy to do that.
And Jen's happy with it.
There we go. Checking in from upstairs. Yeah, Jen wants me to get $100. Stop buying movies.
Deej.
What I do now?
You didn't do anything. Brace yourself. Prepare yourself for anger. Are you ready?
Oh, geez. Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
I'm glad he told us.
Yeah.
Oh, Captain, my Captain. John's John. Look at John. John had our back. AC3, come on.
AC3, come on.
Oh, well, that John.
Oh, yeah. It's like it's maybe. Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that's good. That's awesome.
Luckily, we've got John with the stormtrooper speakers to tell him that we know.
Yeah, exactly.
the white and black speakers.
Oh, geez, that's awesome. That's awesome.
He's in the corner.
Yeah,
in the naughty corner.
He is not going to be first in the chat next week. I bet you any money. He's like, no. He'll be checking in at 6:58.
Yeah, change his name.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
We landed on the moon. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
He has it written on his pajamas.
Oh, you do, don't you?
Yeah, no, it's
from the
a
24
tramp
hour
stamp on my back.
Oh yeah. Oh, Mike just says, it's a Star Wars. Yeah, that, and then on one cheek, Red 5, and on the other, that's a Star Wars reference.
No, that's no moon.
Hey, as long as it's not just impacted on the surface, that's fine.
You got to do it in that voice. Just impacted on the surface.
Just stay on target.
Oh, geez.
Oh, it goes forever. Let's not do that. It'll go forever. Yeah. Man.
I'll get my coat. Yep.
Yeah.
There's the door.
Yeah.
Oh, God. We aren't doing a show tonight. Oh, boy.
It is a bit anarchic. We are doing our thing. Boy.
Wow. Jeez. Who needs drugs?
Wow. Yeah, it makes you feel high as a kite. Just while we move on to slide, Mike Wright says, I wonder how sales are on the Strato V. I don't know if you'd have seen it. Now, I'm going to get his name wrong because I always say it wrong. David, is it Sasalo?
Yeah.
Suelo.
He said he saw, yeah. You saw that. I did see that the other day. I saw when I jumped on to promote the podcast and on Twitter and the Kaleidoscape V, and I saw his, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" And that's good news too. Is he a rep or something like? I should talk to Mike
or something like. Yeah,
I think he's an affiliate. Yeah. I know Mike. Youthman just became one. I saw that.
Okay.
I should talk to him, see how it's going. Because he's advertising that he's now an affiliate or whatever, selling them. We don't. I just talk what I like. So.
Yeah, we've made a conscious decision about that, haven't we? We just like to talk about the stuff we love, and then if we don't not like it, we don't have to worry about saying that to offend anyone because we're not bought and sold.
No. Oh, we've probably been sold a few times, but nothing to.
Yeah, well, I didn't like to say
people trying to sell us off left and right. Did you go away?
But no, I'm sure they're selling like hotcakes. I mean, of course, Kaleidoscape's problem now will be making enough. I mean, I don't know how easy they are to build, how long the lead times are on them, or even the release. Is there a release date for it yet?
I heard out. I want to say Josh said to me it was this week. I thought he said they were shipping this week, but
okay.
I might have gotten that. Like, I thought he said like the 22nd, which would have been, but that could have been August. I was so excited. I'd have to go back into my notes, my chats, and see what he said actually. But I know he's super busy. I reached back out to him when I can get mine, and I haven't heard back from him yet. So they must be super busy, and I am not a priority because he's already sold me. So they're like, I don't care. I'm trying to get to the people that, that are new.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it, whether they can now keep up with demand, whether they are supply or demand is going to outstrip supply. I mean, it's certainly there's a buzz around it, and we played our part in that. Yeah, it's good. I mean, great. I mean, Paul says he knows some people on his crew, 2 people on his crew that ordered last week. And Paul says it's interesting to see how long anyone can survive without extra storage. I mean, that's the key, isn't it?
That's the point. That's the old the drug dealer trick. Here, first one's free, and then you're like, oh my God, I need more. So this is here you go, entry level, and you're just gonna love it so much, and you'll get to about 30 movies and be like, oh man, I need storage. How much is that hard drive? All right, I'll get that one. Trust me, I'm there.
Yeah, well, quite.
I like this.
Jack just dropped it. Hi, Jack. Hey, buddy.
Yep.
Sorry, I just dropped.
What's up, Jack?
Sorry.
This one here from Nathan is like, DJ talked me into one. I'd say several have sold, and it's like, I don't talk anybody into anything. I just told everybody what I like, and that's the point, right? It's like you don't want the sales pitch. You want to know the honest opinion of what it is, and I think even your side, not of coming at it from your perspective of not wanting one just yet. It gives people like both sides, and then they can take all of that information and make their decision. So it's
absolutely, and that's the beauty of it. If we were
no skin off my nose whether you get one or not. It's like, I love mine.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of it. Whereas if we were sponsored, you'd have to push it. We'd both have to. Otherwise, they they don't want people saying, well, you could. It's up to you. I'm still very much on the I don't need it yet, and I just
needs it
because I don't know. Some of us feel like we might do. I mean, I need 4K and I need good movies, so that's fine. But at the moment, my appetite's are satiated with discs. I don't need that again because of the very unusual nature of it. We talked last week about where the cinema room is and all the rest of it. It's too much of a faff and a hassle at the moment, and for the benefit that I'd get from it, it's still too much of a hassle. That I'm sure will get fixed at some point, but I can wait. I'm okay. It's all good. But there we go. Mike says I'd swap it for Steve's movie file system.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. It takes you a while to label them though when you first get it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh, there we go. But all good. All good. Yeah, things are exciting.
Also, I should have opened with this. Today's my pumpkin's birthday. Meg.
Right, Deej. I'm just going to say happy birthday and leave it there.
She's
get into trouble.
I know you do because you speak. Yeah, she's a whole quarter century. That's my little girl. Quarter century. Jen and I went to breakfast with her this morning, and Jen got to sit there and listen to Meg and I say how much we're alike and like we just how stupid we are. And how we don't understand why the rest of the world can't be perfect like us.
That's fine.
Like, why don't they just think like us? Jen's like,
yeah, well, it's got to be done. No, well, good. The only guilty man in Shawshank. So what did you get her for her birthday? Anything movie related? Because she is a movie fan, isn't she?
No, Jen took her, I think, we did the breakfast thing, and then Jen took her, I think it was a pedicure or something like that. They did the girly thing. And then
you said that, I didn't.
Yeah, I'm not going for a pedicure. Look at these hands.
Why not?
I'm building a house. I'm lucky I'm going to have fingertips left.
Well, the way you keep nailing your thumb to the wall and
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, but it's okay. So nothing because she is a movie fan, isn't she? She is.
Yes, and that will come up later. That will come up later. Yeah. Yeah. So. All right. Speaking of that, let's my first experience. Let's jump right to that. My first experience this week. That I'm going to talk about. It's not the first experience of the week, but I went to Foo Fighters show over the weekend at Fenway Park, and it was, I have to say, I mean, we got these tickets back in October, and I didn't know we were going, or maybe, I didn't know. And it's like, I've seen Foo Fighters so many times that in seeing them at Fenway, and I'll be honest, Fenway isn't the best venue for music. It's actually quite horrible. And it's just, I saw the Foo Fighters at the Garden, and Dave Grohl is just an absolute beast on stage. Any one of his songs, if you've never seen them, if you like Foo Fighters at all, even a little bit, I would highly recommend seeing them, because once you see them live, to me, it's just an absolute, it's a workout for me. It's like, this is what I listen. I mean, in all of his music, he's just absolutely insane in the way he sings and the energy that they bring. So going up to the show, I'm like, not really. All right, we're going to Foo Fighters. A lot of fun, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And we get there, and the Hives are playing beforehand. And I was I'm like, all right, they're not bad, blah, blah, blah. And I wasn't really getting into it. And then my experience was greatly enhanced by our buddy Paul Hurt, because I'm like sitting there and I'm like, wait a minute, Hives are from, I think it was Sweden. I'm like, so I'm like, hey, Paul. I text Paul. I'm like, you know the Hives? And he's like, yeah, great people. They don't make them like that anymore. We had a little conversation. I was like, oh, all right. Now I'm into the Hives. I'm like, all right, cool. He likes them. I'm like, I'm at Foo Fighters. And we start talking Foo Fighters. So my experience is greatly enhanced already. And then talking to Paul, which, by the way, thanks, Paul, because it's like past midnight there when I'm doing this. I was expecting an answer in the morning or something, right? So, so then they open up, and Foo Fighters comes out, and I'm just like, oh, okay, here we go. There we go. All right. And Dave, I think they opened up with All My Life. And from there on out, the rest of it, I'm just getting my voice back now. And this was Sunday night. I was screaming, having a blast, singing along to the songs. And I was just like, what was I thinking? I'm like, I just can't go through a Foo Fighters show without just being out of my mind, because every single one of their songs is insane. And I just love, Grohl's energy, Taylor Hawkins, who, passed away a few years ago, and the drum. I mean, I actually got like I forget who the drummer is they have now, but it's like the relationship that Grohl and Taylor had just to get Foo Fighters going. Me and my friends, we talked about it on the way in, but then they did a couple of drum solos, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm getting a little emotional because Taylor Hawkins was awesome, and Grohl's a drummer, so he, this is a whole thing, but absolutely awesome show, and I can't wait to see him again. And I'm like, because next time I'm going to be like, don't be an idiot, and don't forget how much fun you've had every single time you see them. So it's awesome. It was awesome. So.
I'm trying to think where I have seen them live, but I mean, I don't. I always say I don't know anything about music. I really don't.
Yeah.
But I am fortunate enough, because of the work that I do. And provide legal advice and assistance to security services at various festivals, and one of them is Glastonbury, which is a worldwide renowned festival not far from here, and then another one up in a place called Leeds, and I think, which is always on the August weekend, bank holiday weekend, and I think Foo Fighters played that, and I saw them there, but I don't know one song from another DJ. Like I said, I know nothing about music, but it is kind of fun to get in for free, and you just kind of go in and watch them and then come away, and it's all good, and I remember them being good, but without knowing anything about them.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've seen some, I've seen Jay-Z like that, Beyonce, I've seen, Metallica and Iron Maiden and all that sort of stuff, Guns N' Roses and all that, all as part of these festivals, something I would never in a million years go to see normally, because it just doesn't really mean much to me. And yet I've been able to see them, and, it's been pretty cool. I mean, Coldplay and all the rest of them as well, and everything else. But yeah, so it's all good. And Fenway Park, I mean, I didn't know they did concerts there. Again, I've only been there once. Again, during that fateful summer of '98.
Yeah, it's too much.
4th of July.
They did it many years ago. They did it as a special thing, and it was Springsteen that opened. The first ever concert, and it was supposed to be an absolute once in a lifetime thing. And I think he did 3 shows. Me and my brother got tickets to all 3 shows. And we were like, we'll take my friends in one group, we'll take his friends in another group. And I think that if there was a third, maybe it was only 2, but if there was a third show, we got tickets just for us. But we saw them all, and it was supposed to be, like I said, once in a lifetime thing. And it's just grown ever since. And just this past weekend, it was, and for years, it was only like this special event. They'd bring in a big band like Foo Fighters, or even I think the Stones have done it, or something like that. But it was always somebody big, and it made it special. And it's like, the Red Sox are on the road, and they've had this by Thursday. I think they'll have that's a 4th band, like Blink 182 playing tomorrow night. Foo Fighters played Wednesday night. They had a couple of country singers before that. I forget their names. Meg and Greg actually streamed one of the shows live last Thursday night, I believe it was. And Greg was texting me. He's like, this is amazing. And Meg was talking about this morning, the production of the streaming, production and sound and picture. They were like, this is unbelievable. They had a blast and didn't have to drive into Boston. And like Meg said this morning, it's the show's over. And she's like, I can go to bed.
Done.
But it was an awesome experience. But they have a decent setup in their living room too. So that kind of enhances the experience. Right, Steve?
Oh yeah. So I've heard.
Yeah, but it's kind of taken. They've eliminated the special part of it being a Fenway show. Now it's just turned into another concert venue, and it really isn't a concert venue. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's open on all those sides, isn't it? I mean, is that against the Green Monster? Is that
the
stage?
So what you're looking at here is actually, let me see if I can pull up the video. I'm gonna pull this down for a second and see if I can pull up.
Make sure YouTube won't pull it, mind.
No, it's my personal video.
Oh, fine. Yeah.
That I did. Here it is. If I can get it to play. Let me see. Here's a video I took. So that's what it looks like. And the sun hasn't gone down yet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, cool. I remember it well. Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
So I don't know if anybody heard that, but there was some.
No, I couldn't hear
okay,
it. But
good. But yeah, that's what it looks like. So, and I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great. It's so much better to see it in other, venues that are made for that. So, but yeah, it was an absolute blast. Absolute blast.
I'll bet it's not much fun if you happen to own an apartment, just across the road from Fenway Park. If you're not a Foo Fighters fan, you must be like, oh my God, this is not what I bought this for.
Yeah. We've actually there's a couple of bars like right across the street that have outdoor, like on the rooftop. And we've actually gone in, like we did that for Tom Petty once. We went in and just hung out on there, and you can hear everything perfectly. And you have a great time, and you don't have to worry about, and you get out of there before it's over. Or actually, we had a great night. I think that was the same night. We were when our friends, Scott and Lori, we were on the rooftop, and talk about a twofer night. My brother was playing across town at a bar. And he's like, hey, I'm across town. I was like, let's go. We left Petty and went and saw, karate show over at a bar across town. I was like, what a night. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So. One of my best friends, his parents talk about back in the 60s and, late 50s, early 60s in the UK, there was a thriving music scene, and where close to where I live, which is Bristol, there were lots of little music clubs, and they would 10 a penny, and they talk lovingly about nights where you go into Bristol, which is a small city as far as you guys are concerned. I mean, to you, it's probably a town. It's like a one stoplight town to you guys. To us, it's quite big, and they talk lovingly about how you could go to one club, watch the Beatles, and then go across town, 2 minutes down the road and watch the Rolling Stones, and that kind of thing. And then you could go up the road and then watch, all these kind of bands all playing in the same neighborhood, and you could just go between them. They talk, about how incredible that was. I mean, obviously I'm far too young for all that, but they talk about how you could do it. It sounds kind of cool.
Oh yeah. Well, and what's funny is Paul, one of the things he recommended, it was funny. He actually put it here too, but we talked about it the other night. He said, DJ and I would both recommend the Sonic Highway series on Blu-ray if you're into music document. Oh, DJ and I would both recommend. That's what he's saying. Cause that's what we talked about the other night. He's like, oh, you should get this. I'm like, got it. And it's Sonic Highways is kind of exactly what you were talking about. It's like, so and then one of the things I like about Grohl is he's very passionate about, he's a very passionate artist. And so Sonic Highways is about these different cities that they record in, and they want to give you the background and how the cities and where you are actually influences the music, even if you're not from there, because with people like this, with people like a Dave Grohl or we were talking about on the way in, I think Miley Cyrus, I was thinking a few other people that are just like very passionate about what they do, and they don't give a crap what you think about their art. They're doing it for their sake, so they can be influenced by things around them. And that's kind of really what Sonic Highways is about. And they get into, it's not just like Foo Fighters. It's about all the artists in that area in each episode. So it's pretty good. But
so Captain AC3 is coming in hot.
Oh God!
Yeah, and he's back. He's back in the room.
And he's back. Yeah, Paul, I got that reference.
Yeah, I got that right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Captain AC3, I got that reference. That's from the Avengers, the movie Avengers. Yeah, so that came out.
Oh, pretty. Yeah, before he chimed in, I'm pretty sure that comes from.
Yeah. He's never living that down.
He's going to
change his name just for anonymity. He's like, where did Captain AC3 go?
I had no idea we needed a bright side witness protection, but it looks like we do.
Yeah, exactly. We're nice guys until we're not.
Yeah, that's it. By the way, Deej, what did we say earlier? What is it, 40 minutes? Haven't mentioned a single film.
No, not yet. No. Mm-mm.
We don't need movies. Tell you, we don't need them.
You're right. We don't. We don't need. Oh God.
Right.
So good.
Anywho,
so good. You want to get to actually? This isn't a movie. Do you want to get to some content, some actual home theater content?
Yeah, go on. At least it's something I know about.
Yeah.
Music's just kind of alien to me, unless it's music, from the movies.
Yeah, but it's an experience. So we're more than just our theaters,
cool.
slightly.
We are.
So, all right, let's get this one going. Oops, really? There we go. All right, here we go. Whoop, what happened there? That was funny.
No, came up.
Where'd it go?
There it is.
Go ahead, Steve. Take it away.
Okay, so this is the not at all watched and completely never spoken about. No one knows anything about it. The Acolyte on Disney Plus in 4K and Dolby Atmos. We've talked about it already, but not for weeks and weeks and weeks. Yeah. I think it was episode 3, maybe, when we
did take a few weeks off. Though,
we last checked in. Yeah, quite. And we have now both finished it. And I know because you and I talked before the show. And so now it is done. And in terms of my views of the show, because I was enjoying it a lot. First sort of 3 episodes, I liked the Kung Fu aesthetic. I liked kind of how they were doing it. And I thought, this is something different. They're doing something new. I think it reverted to type a little bit as it went on. But there were some very good bits in it. Some of the lightsaber fights and stuff. I mean, spoiler alert, there's lightsabers there. Some of the fighting was really, really well done. Especially in the final episode. Spoiler alert. There was some really good lightsaber fighting. It does look like they're swinging baseball bats a couple of times. It did look a little bit kind of like okay, but otherwise there was some good stuff. The only thing about the last episode that I didn't like is something happens on camera that's never happened or been hinted at in any of the kind of live action or movies before. And I kind of rankled with that a bit. I'm like, that's kind of, I mean, it's an interesting looking shot, but where the bloody hell's that come from? And that's never been talked about, being able to do that. I think you probably know what I mean, DJ.
No, I'm kind of baffled.
Color change.
Oh, yeah.
Which now, I mean, I've never read the extended universe sort of comics, so I don't know if it's in that. But I do believe it is. John, if John was here, he could probably elaborate on it a little bit more. Yeah. There is a history behind that. I'm not 100% sure, but it didn't affect me at all. I think my son and I have talked about it in years past. It's like, that is why it's without giving it away for anybody. It's I won't go any further, but I don't think it's as far off as maybe you think. Okay. I mean, then I didn't know. And again, I'm only basing my knowledge on the movies and the games. I played the computer games, but never the the extended novels, the books and comics and all that. So that kind of was a bit weird and came out of nowhere.
You know what Paul says? Last episode just about rescued it, but can't get past what a bunch of dorks these Jedi are. Hey, wait, I take offense to that. Nerds, dorks, we're part of that. I mean, love #dork. Love my guys over there. Love dorks. We're nerds. They're dorks. We're dorks. They're nerds. Whatever.
It's just semantics.
Did Paul just call me a Jedi? I'll take it.
Done. That's it. There you go. The force is strong with this one. So I did like aspects of it. And of course, there's quite a nice little potential cameo at the end. Well, 2 cameos. There's one definite one and one potential one in the middle of the episode that is intriguing. So, would I watch a second season? Yes. Do I need a second season? Not really. No. But I'm glad I've seen it. They did try some different things. But again, I more questions than answers about certain things and certain armor being, again, there's this uncertainty about what materials in Star Wars are impervious to lightsabers and what aren't. And I wish someone would get that clear, because I still can't figure out, if they had this 100 years ago when this was on, why aren't all the stormtrooper outfits made of it? Why haven't all the Sith got armor that is impervious to lightsabers? That seems like an oversight to me. So, health and safety, people, come on.
Cost effective. It's it's the bottom dollar, Steve. It's easier just to replace the stormtrooper than it is to make them protected.
Yeah, it's easier to
because at the end of the day, you can protect them all you want, but he still can't hit the broadside of a barn with a blaster. So what the hell good is that?
Perhaps if they didn't let them keep getting killed because they had their armor on, their experience would mean that they were better shots.
Right. They'd actually be around long enough to learn how to shoot.
Done.
How long you been shooting since yesterday?
Yeah. Well, they keep banging their heads. I mean, it's terrible. But it's it was okay. And I think it looked and sounded good. It was all right.
It did. It did.
I didn't quite get to Ahsoka levels for me. But I think
there was some rumbles in there.
Yeah.
In almost every episode, there was really good sound. The HDR is much improved yet again. They're going into, I shouldn't say going into, I don't, they can get into some dark areas, meaning lighting wise, and they've improved a lot compared to where they came from with Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's nice to see. I feel like they're learning, like what we talk about all the time about Netflix. They're learning what they can shoot, how they can shoot to really enhance that HDR through streaming to give you the best possible experience. It's like we got to light it this way because we're limited. It's streaming. You can't go for broke with like they do with the Batman or even with like the Game of Thrones or anything like that. Like we know it can go out physically, so we can kind of mess with it here. They're really learning how, and it is supposed to be like a pop cult, like it's supposed to be larger than life anyway. So why get into the nuances like the Batman, right? So I think they're learning from that, and that's I think when you saw Ahsoka, that was your first time being like, okay, here we go. And now I bet you if you hadn't seen Ahsoka, you would have been just as impressed with this. This is kind of like a sideward step from Ahsoka, right? But you've seen Ahsoka, so you're used to it. Now you want more. Always demanding more, Steve. You're very, very.
I like to be demanding.
Yes, you are. Yeah, yes, you do.
But yeah, so I'm glad I've seen it. I'm not that bothered if this doesn't continue. I won't. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that.
Right.
But it's all right.
To be fair, if they do another one, I am going to need to watch the previously on because I'll be like, what happened in that? Oh yeah, here we go. It's already forgettable, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the ride. You know what I mean? It's just not one of those where you go, oh my, I'm not dying for the next. I wasn't left on a cliffhanger situation with like all the Mandalorians to me kind of ended that way. Like I cannot wait for another one. Right? None of this one did not. Ahsoka kind of I did. I want more of that. Even Obi-Wan. I would love to get another because I love Ewan McGregor too, right? I'm like, I watched him ride a motorcycle from South America to the United States. The hell is that? It's like, why don't you hey, Ewan McGregor reading the phone book. I'm in.
Yeah. Although what's interesting about that series, that's another Apple series, by the way, while we're talking Apple streaming. Notice how he's building towards starting to shoot Obi-Wan because look at how his beard is growing in and how he's growing it as that series goes on. Yeah, it's great. And then they start recognizing him because he's got the beard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's just, and what was fun about that series is the recognition of being like, when you do see him, you're like, oh my God, that's Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he knows it too. And he's just like, okay, it's one thing to be famous. It's another thing to be a character. Like character famous, right? It's like, hey, do you ever see the clip where he says something like, he goes, yeah, I walked to the grocery store and used my 2 fingers to open the door.
Yeah, like, I've seen that.
He's like, like I do it. I'm like,
Yeah, I am glad that not on a tangent, I know, but I'm glad that he's kind of worked his way round to loving it again. Because by the time he'd finished Revenge of the Sith, he was very, very unhappy. And I mean, I think Lucas, lots of stuff going on in the background. Well, but there was stuff going on in the background there between him and Lucasfilm and Lucas himself about some of the comments he'd made about the green screen and the lack of challenge and all this stuff. And of course, the line delivery, which, is not good. And I think and he's a better actor than that. And so he went through a phase of being very unhappy at Star Wars and embarrassed by it literally. And because I remember him doing an interview where he said that he came out of a stage that theatrical show he was doing, and he came out of the stage door at the end, and as he came out, there was someone there, dressed as a Jedi, saying, "May the Force be with you, Ewan." And in this thing, he said, he told him to, go forth and multiply. And he was like, and he just said, I never want to see it again. I don't want anyone coming here. I mean, funny enough, Alec Guinness went through that as well, didn't he? Was it that interview where he said someone came up to him and said, "I've seen Star Wars 100 times." And Alec Guinness said, "Can you do me a favor? Never see it again." He's just like, all right, Alec, happy.
Yeah. He was. It was funny because I don't know that then. You read about it later, and he's just a different kind of actor, but he still did it. And they've actually, George Lucas has used that when trying to cast characters, people for roles. Like, I didn't ask you to like this. I need you for, they want that person for that role because that's what he envisions, right? And it's like, and look at what Alec Guinness did here. He didn't like it either, but that's being an actor. I didn't ask you to like it. I need you to do a job that I think you fit for. And that's the job.
But it's just Ewan seems to have been around long enough to have come full circle, to quote, Rambo. He's come just before Captain AC3 tells us where it's from. He's been around long enough to have come full circle.
Poor guy.
and so he's now got around to it, and he seems to be enjoying Star Wars again. And I think that's nice to see, because it shouldn't be life or death. It shouldn't be love it or hate it. It should be something to enjoy. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, so that's cool. Anyway, off on a tangent.
All right. Us? Never.
No, well, quite.
Tangent.
Right. Go on. Spin the dial. Take your pick.
Spin the dial. Let's go with, I got a scene. Let's do this. Let's bring up this scene here.
Now, do I need to cover my eyes in this, Deej?
No.
And sort of
spoiler
block
free.
my ears.
Spoiler free. So,
okay, good.
All right, here we go. So, this is a scene from House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 5, Regent. And this is a scene, if you happen to be watching the series, it's at 33 minutes and 31 seconds. If you're watching on YouTube, I have a clip up there. You'll see kind of what it's setting up. And basically you could actually jump to this. You're not going to get a spoiler at all. It's basically they're meeting in a room, on, like Game of Thrones type set, which is what the House of the Dragon is, a prequel to Game of Thrones. And so,
cheers, Captain.
There you go. So yeah, it's like there are dragons in the show, so you may see them, spoiler free. But anyways, so what happens here is in this scene here, as if you're looking on YouTube, you'll see the clip, and there's like a bunch of people sitting around. It's kind of a dark scene. It wasn't really this dark when you're watching it, but anyways, a lot of ambient sound in the room. Okay, there's like at one point I heard a bird off on the left rear of the room, but you hear noises, just air blowing around the room. It's open. I mean, this is, they don't have like common, like, HVAC systems way back when they had dragons, so it's a very open, airy space. And what ends up happening is, so the character he's walking around at the beginning, let's say at 33, 31, and then he walks around, he goes over and sits down at a table. And they're all talking, and now I won't give away what they're talking about. It doesn't really matter. If you don't know and you watch this scene, you won't really care. But what they're doing is what I found really interesting is they're using that ambient sound around the room to set you up, and you don't even know. And all of a sudden, when the character takes this, like, kind of like a cue ball size, like it looks like a cue ball, really, and I'm showing it on the screen right now, and he sets it into this little dish type thing. And everything, all of a sudden, it feels like your system shut off. Everything just goes dead quiet. Like all that ambient sound goes away. And what's so cool about it is that ambient sound is supposed to be just that. It's supposed to be subtle. It's supposed to be behind. Like you're not even supposed to notice it. But when you do notice it is when it's gone. And all of a sudden, you're like, what happened? Where'd the sound go? And it raises the tension in the room. And I'm the only one in there. I'm like, uh-oh, what happened? And then they put the camera on another character, which I'm showing here, and it's showing her tension of what's going on in the room. And now you start to hear, boom, 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 and I watched it like 3 or 4 times, and it's so much fun because it's the exact opposite of what we usually talk about here of like the pans and this and that. And this is where they took these little tiny sounds and eliminated them. And you're just like, huh? Like, what is going on? And it basically, it was all used to play that tension that these characters are feeling in this room at that time. And it was awesome. So yeah, like I said, it's definitely, if you have HBO Max, even if you don't have, or is it HBO Max? Or is it Max now? Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you have it, even if you don't have Atmos, I'm sure on your system up converted, because I know some people don't have the Atmos tracks because you have to pay the top tier or whatever. Turn it up, go as close to reference as you can, because it's going to be, I mean, their voices will be louder, but listen for that. And when it drops out, you'll just feel it. And you don't even have to really know what's going on to hear this sound drop out and just feel that tension in the room. It was a lot of fun. And it was like, because I was like, did my system shut off? But I can hear him. It's so cool. So cool.
Mm.
So that's why I grabbed the images. I was like, this is a fun one. This is a fun one. Because it's one we don't often talk about, where it's like they take away the little stuff. It's always fun to hear the booms and the pans and the explosions and shotguns and bazookas and Gatling guns, Steve. So,
do they have those in the House of the Dragon?
Nah, not that I know of.
Oh,
not that I remember. Yeah, sorry.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
and to answer Jordan's question, no, I haven't started it yet. I'm going back through season 1 and very much enjoying that. Yeah. But albeit very slowly, because I'm in no rush to see this. I'd rather see this on 4K disc, to be fair, than streaming.
Yeah.
So,
I'm really enjoying it, and I will watch it. I keep checking because remember I told when this first came out, I remember it dropping on Kaleidoscape in the middle of the season, so I got to finish the season with the 4K version, with the physical version, and it hasn't yet. So I don't know if it will, but yeah, that was.
I am looking forward to it. Yeah, it does. It looks great. Loads of very positive comments online about it, so I am looking forward to it. We've got Davis 1138, Captain. Nice. That's a THX thing. Says love House of the Dragon. Sad there's only 2 episodes left.
Yeah. It is a lot of fun, and I know when something goes away, you're like, oh man, now like Acolyte's gone. Like, now what's my next weekly piece?
There's still plenty out there. The Bear season 3, I'm going through at the moment. Really enjoying that.
I haven't done one. Stuff. Yeah.
I think you'll do it. I'm sure John's finished it now. I think he finished it on the plane.
Yeah. Yep.
That's very, very good.
All right. You want to do this now?
Or do you want to save that? Yeah, because I'm building to that.
How about this one?
Yeah. Let's do that. Yeah, please.
All right.
I'll try not to talk in my Kiwi accent.
Jeez, here we go. A lot of accent talk.
Of course.
All right, here we go.
Okay, right. So this is the lesser seen loop track, which and anyone that is watching this and thinks, what the heck is that? You're not alone, because I didn't know anything about it either until a few weeks back. And this is on Blu-ray 1080p. It's in 5.1 DTS HD master audio, and this is a Kiwi horror movie. It's very, very low budget. It's been given a sort of a lease of life from Arrow over here. I don't know if it's out in the US. I'm genuinely not sure, but it's a micro-budgeted Kiwi horror film. Or a psychological thriller, maybe, I suppose. You could have either. It's kind of psychological thriller, horror, creature feature, and a mixture of all 3. Or maybe none of those. Okay? It kind of depends on your perspective. It's one of those films. And it's a movie about a guy who goes off into the New Zealand bush and into the forest. And we pick up on him as he drives in, gets out of his car, and you can see he's suffering from anxiety. He's clearly got issues. He's not dressed for hiking. He's not got the kit, and he just goes stumbling into the woods. And something's wrong. We don't know what's wrong with him. We know he's ignoring his phone, and that's about it. And off he stumbles. And he encounters other hikers, and some of them are very funny and really spiky kind of, interplay between them. And this character, our main chap, may or may not be seeing things in the woods, and they may or may not be a creature, may or may not be just in his mind. And the movie unfolds, and it's like 96 minutes long. It's lean and mean, the kind of movies you like to see. They're kind of throwaway films, because you don't have to, it's not 2.5 hours and take up your whole afternoon. And it's a really interesting film. I did enjoy it. The dialogue between these hikers is really good. It's that kind of passive aggressive dialogue where, you don't know whether you want to just punch this guy in the face or kind of, take him for a beer. It's one of those things. You just don't know. It's just this very clever dialogue. And 1 minute you're like, oh, fair play to him. And the next minute you're like, God, I'll drown him in a lake. It just kind of depends on how
my friends feel.
Well, I didn't like to say. But what the film is, though, Deej, what in terms of the movie is, the whole thing is a cipher for men's mental health. And the last word of this film, and I am not going to spoil it, the literal last word of this film is all telling. And so anyone that does see it, the last word is what this movie is about. It's really good. And this, I mean, the reason I know that, one, I got that because I was watching it, and two, there's a booklet that comes with it, because it's an Arrow release, of course. You get all the added stuff that comes with it. And there's a booklet in there. And so I read that after I'd seen the movie, and sure enough, it's, fine, okay, it is what I thought it was. So it's a cipher for men's mental health, and it's really well worth seeing. It does have some gore in it. There are some blood and guts in it. There are people that maybe die, or don't they? Who knows? It's really worth seeing. So, well, I don't want to give it away. Again, it's about mental health. So did it happen? Does it not? Don't know. So just got to kind of give it a go. And the film does not answer that question, by the way, so I'm not spoiling anything. You give it a go and see. So that's that. Now, in terms of the theater perspective, obviously only 1080p, but it does look really nice. Digitally shot, of course, as everything is these days, which, by the way, is a very cool way of making a low budget movie with a decent cinematographer look big budget. Because you don't have to worry about film stock anymore. It's literally, as long as you've got a decent resolution camera, you can point it at anything and just let it go. And in this particular one, you can see in that image how kind of all the foliage and all the detail on the trees, all the different greens, and the way the light comes through. It's only 1080p, as I said. It's not HDR or 4K, but it does look really good. And when it needs to, it looks really threatening. When it doesn't, it looks lovely. And that's all because of the quality of the image. So it looks great. Sound is decent. It's only, it's up mixed to Neural X, but it's a low budget movie. So you do get bird calls, and you get, again, as you were talking about, ambient noise. So you hear birds and you hear wind in the trees and all this kind of thing. There's never anything that's going to give your system a real test. This is more of a psychological film than that, but it's not, it doesn't detract from it. It does enhance it, surprisingly. And so I do recommend this if you can find it. And I don't know how easy it'll be able to find outside of the UK, but if you can find it and you've got some time and you want something interesting, and I would speaking directly to Todd Anderson as well at the moment, because he loves these movies like I do. And it's one worth tracking down, Todd, and indeed anyone else that's listening that thinks it's interesting. And if you're not watching on YouTube, that is Loop Track. And it's a movie from like 2021, 22. So it may well have been shot during lockdown. And it's only got a very small cast, so that would make sense. So yeah, really good. Yeah, very enjoyable and recommended.
It is not available on Kaleidoscape. I know that.
Is it on Amazon over there, Deej? Is it on anything there? I'll be really surprised.
It's a good question.
It came out of nowhere here. I mean, I'm surprised it got a release like it did here. But I suppose Arrow have licensed it for the UK. They may have licensed it worldwide. But I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily suggest you spend the money to import it.
Nobody. Yeah, they don't have it here. It doesn't come up at all.
Track doesn't come up
in American.
Yeah,
Amazon,
if you can get it imported cheaply, it'd be worth it. But don't spend a lot of money to do it, because it is a low budget movie. It's a short film, but it is good. And again, the last word of this movie is very telling. And when I heard that last word, it was like, wow, okay, I get what all this has been about. So I know that sounds really cryptic and weird, but it's really worth seeing it. Well, indeed, make you want to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. But it's good. It's really good. Yeah, well worth seeing.
All right.
So yeah, there we go.
Cool. All right. Let me see. What do I want to go with next? All right. I'll go with my next one.
Lay it on us.
Yeah. This is so we got, here we go. Bring this up. Twisters in theaters now, just like it says on the screen there. So saw this opening day, 3 p.m. with Meg. Meg and I went, and I was like, I forgot it was coming out. And Thursday morning, I was like, oh, Twisters is today. And I was like, I looked it up, and I look in the theater, and it's like, you can pick your seats. Nobody. I had the whole theater that morning. I had the whole theater to pick from. So I was like, oh, all right. Let me text Meg. Do you want to go? And she's like, yeah, because her schedule is sometimes she's working during the day, sometimes she works at night, and she was available. She's like, I'll go. So she met me at the theater. I just hit it on my way home from work, and we met and saw Twisters in theaters now. And wow, it is fun. As I said, you're not winning Oscars. It's just a fun movie. More realistic than Moonfall. I think it's going to be a lot of fun at home. Okay. She had just seen Twister a few weeks ago. Her and Greg had watched that. I think she said he had never seen Twister.
No wonder he's not in the chat. He's too embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, Meg has seen all of these, and they also watched Independence Day. He had never seen that. His family, he wasn't brought up around movies like Meg was. Okay. So it was fun. And this movie here it has a lot of homages to the original, story-wise, and just shots, the way scenes were done, not upgraded, but shot for modern times. You'll see it. If you'll see what I'm saying when you see like certain things, and they do certain things that in the first movie you were like, oh, okay. And then this movie, they're like, you should never do that. Blah, blah, blah. But they did in the first movie. And it's like, so there was a lot of fun with that. It's as I said to you earlier when we were talking about it, more graphic. You're going to have, I think people will have more fun with this one than the original, because there is more death. There are more, it's a movie about tornadoes and people. How do you get killed by a tornado? You get sucked up by said tornado, right? And in the original, it's like we have the opening scene and the father goes, spoilers for people in 30-year-old movie, whatever it was. That's it. Other than that, there's maybe a couple others, right? Something like that. And they were in a vehicle or something. It was never, this one here, it's like, you never know. It's like anybody is fair game. And you're like, by the end of the movie, you're like, who's going to go? Are they all going? Or what happens? It's like, it really did keep you on your toes, and it made the movie a little bit more engaging. And you were like, oh my God, that happened. And so that made it a little bit more fun. The story wise, that was like Meg and I were talking about, that you have that it wasn't really a love interest type thing. It was more of a tension thing, which made that a little bit more fun. And so that was interesting. But home theater wise, even in a regular theater, this is Showcase X Plus, which has Atmos, which by the way, remember the we talked about the disc last week, the disc first, the new one. They did at the beginning of Twisters, they played that. This is the Dolby Atmos trailer where you get the rainforest and the boom, boom, boom and the thunder. I had just playing the Twister disc the German disc, which has that at the beginning, and you get the thunder and you get everything. And I lean over to Meg and I go, yeah, now I know this room sucks because it wasn't even close to like. So, if you've seen that, anybody that's seen that trailer.
I've got the Dolby Atmos demo disc with them on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and when they do the thunder and they're like more bass, and they mention bass, they say bass, and it's like in
bass
my
you can
room,
feel.
bass you can feel. You're like, boom, 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 boom. And it's, Carl Ellsworth's like, that's what I'm shooting for, right? in my theater, my remote's lighting up, you feel it, and it's literally, it's bass you can feel, and you can feel it. In the theater, bass you can feel. Boom. Thought you said I could feel it. Like, there's nothing. You're like, okay. And even the bird, remember they like, the bird goes around the room. It was like the bird goes, and then he magically appears over here, and then suddenly he's at the front of the room. And you're like, no, it's just not. Whereas in our rooms, it's like nice. It's a nice even pan all the way around the room, because you never see the bird. You just know that's where, it's like, so that was kind of interesting to get that experience, especially having it so fresh. But back to the movie part, there was a lot. I mean, there's going to be, like you said, like in any movie, any of these Twister movies, I'm really excited to see this one because there's some great scenes, I think the HDR is going to be better than even maybe not better than the new Twister, because that is really good, as we talked about last week. But this is probably shot a lot better for HDR. There's some dark scenes. I didn't notice, though, I will say, after coming off of Twister and the upgrade and how I said you got dark going into light, I didn't feel that in the theater. I don't know if they didn't shoot it, or maybe this theater isn't, it just doesn't translate as well. Who knows? Because your system has to be right to be able to pull that out of it, right? So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see on the disc. But a lot of fun audio in this movie. And I think, there should be a lot of good bass. There should be a lot of good pans. And it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So looking forward to the disc.
Bill McAllister says, Twister in 4K on Sunday, Twister's in IMAX on Tuesday, digging a storm shelter in the backyard today.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's fun. And it's you don't even, not necessarily leave your brain at the door either. It's not that crazy and far-fetched. It's, it's Twisters. It's, so it's like, hey, they make it. Some don't, some do.
But but it's not a sequel. It's not is it a remake, or is it a kind of reimagining? That's what I can never quite figure from the trailer.
It is actually, it is a sequel. It has references to the first one. Direct references to the first
Dorothy's in it, and we know they got Dorothy to fly at the end of the first one. Spoiler alert. Yeah. So how is she in it? Okay. Oh, well, I'll have to see it.
You'll see. And it's actually a very good way to advance the story. So like you'd think, like at the end of the first one, you're like, well, they did that. What do they need to do it more? They did a very creative thing. You'll see with the story, and there's actually a human element to it. There's a should they or shouldn't they element to it. There's a lot to it. There's a lot more to it than just the, special effects of, making this type of a movie. But again, it's not, not Oscar winners, you're not winning, best original screenplay or anything like that. But it was fun, and it did surprise me with the story on how they were able to advance the story a little bit from the original. So, yeah. Yep.
Fair enough.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I thought so. All right.
I will see it. I'll wait for theaters, to the home theater, but I will see it.
Yeah. You want to do this one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, go on then. Yep, let's give that a whirl. Right. It won't take long. Yeah.
Here we go.
And I have to do it, Teach, because I promised old Kung Fu films or movies that we would. Yeah. Well, and that too, yeah. So this is Jet Li's Fist of Legend in 4K. In DTS HD stereo I do believe.
Whoa.
But up next to Neural X. Yeah. Now, this is a movie from 1994 as well. So I'm a bit surprised that it's only got a stereo mix on the disc, but, it's up mixed anyway. So, it fills in the blanks. Have you ever seen this, Deej?
I don't think so. I don't think I have.
No, well, I hadn't either. I think I'd heard about it somewhere along the way because I remember reading or hearing somewhere that Jet Li had done a remake of Fist of Fury, with him in the Bruce Lee part. So I was vaguely aware of it, but had never seen it. So the first time I saw it was in 4K. It's 1:85 aspect ratio in Cinema George. And so on it went, and you never quite know with these. You're always on a little bit of a hiding to nothing. You can never be too sure. Is it going to be hokey? Is it going to be really good? Even in the 90s, you never quite know. And so I watched this film, and I really, really enjoyed it. I think this movie's really good. And it's interesting. It was the fights are choreographed by Yuen Wu Ping, obviously the guy that then did The Matrix. And so he's conning some of his things on this, because this is 94. Of course, The Matrix was shot in 98. And so, of course, only a couple of years later, 2, 3, 4 years later, he's working on that. And you can see why when you watch this. And it's really good. Even as a remake of Fist of Fury, it's not shot for shot. There are different things in it, but it's really good. And interestingly, Deej, as someone, both of us are kind of students of martial arts and seen a million kung fu movies and kind of think, and just when you kind of think you've seen it all, at the opening of this film, there's a fight in a school or a kind of university, I think it's supposed to be, and there are martial arts styles in it that I've never seen before, that are supposed to be kung fu, but there are wrist locks and throws and things like that, which I've never seen either in Wing Chun or kung fu or anything like that. There are some really interesting martial arts styles in this that I've never seen before. And so straight away, I'm like, what? Okay, whoa, all right, this is a bit different. And you'll know it when you see it, but yeah, little things that they don't normally do traditionally. You're not talking about punches and kicks. You're talking about locks and throws that you don't very often see in this. So that was great. Started off as like, wow, really enjoying this.
That
and the movie
more
carries
jiu-jitsu, on. Like more of a mixed.
Quite. Yeah. But then, of course, that's Japanese, but this is supposed to be kung fu. And he's not doing the Jeet Kune Do version of, there is the only style is to have no style. There's no mention of that in this. But he is doing very different. It's more Aikido, which again, Jiu-Jitsu and Aikido are very similar. There's stuff in that I've not seen in this kind of movie before. And that's right from the off. And immediately I'm thinking, okay, now I'm interested. You had my attention. Now you've got my curiosity. That's a film, Captain, called Django Unchained. Anyway, so I really did enjoy it. The movie's really good. And lots of fights, lots of big scale action. There's a little bit of wushu here and there, of course. A little bit of kind of, that's it's wire work, but never anything that's ridiculous. No one's standing on top of a blade of grass. There's nothing like that. It never quite goes that far, luckily. So it's a bit more grounded. And I'm very pleased to say, bearing in mind I've got nothing to compare it to because I've not seen it before on Blu-ray, DVD, or whatever, or VHS, presumably. It looks beautiful in 4K. The whole movie has this kind of golden hue. It's like the entire movie's been shot at like, magic hour. It's like they brought in Michael Bay and were like, shoot that. So you've got this golden kind of color, and you can see a bit of that in that image, actually. I appreciate I'm watching on a screen, it's not calibrated, but you can get a feel for it on that. It looks fantastic. Again, for a movie of this type, I always say a vintage and all that stuff, but it really does look nice.
So sad,
and you can almost feel the warmth. Yeah, well, yeah. But you can feel the warmth almost of the sun coming off their features. Yeah, it's really, really nice. It's a shame it's not in Atmos. It's a shame it's not Neural X, DTSX. But it's still, the stereo is giving it as good as it can, and then the upmixing has some effect. But you don't see it for the audio. See it for how good it looks. And how good of a movie this is. And I was really surprised by that. I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. So find this if you can. It got a release, I think is it 88 films here? I think it is. But if it's bound to come out over there, and if it's in 4K, pick it up. Any sign of a Kaleidoscape, Deej, on that?
Nope. It's not on Kaleidoscape yet. So just off of your alone, I would have already hit the button.
Yeah.
Cha-ching.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, it's not there yet.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. So Jordan says, "Oh, I watched the 88 4K. That's it. Best physical release it's ever had." Well, yeah. I mean, it's certainly based on what I could see. I can well imagine that. But John, if you're listening, again, we went through our kung fu phase, didn't we, last year? And this should have been in that conversation. Had I known and had it been out at that point,
this might be one of those. I loved Jet Li back then too. After he showed up in, which was it?
Lethal Weapon 4.
Was it 4 that he first showed up?
1998, Lethal Weapon 4.
Oh my God. So yeah, maybe I didn't see this. This was before, because that was where I got introduced to him, and I was like,
yeah, me too.
Because he was so, and I mean, they did a good job in that movie of like his character, and it's and you'd had, obviously you're into the 4th movie, and Martin Riggs was the Lethal Weapon, and he was fast, and then you have him going, this guy, you'd never seen somebody so fast, so it was kind of like that's part of the movie, but then actually it gets you drawn into Jet Li, because he still had to do all that stuff, whatever he did, and so then of course you start following him in other movies, and you're just like, yeah, he's talented. Just, I mean,
oh yeah,
but
well,
yeah,
Dick Donner,
I don't know if I did.
At the time of the release of Lethal Weapon 4, Dick Donner said, we had to slow him down.
Yeah,
we couldn't shoot him at the speed he would do it, because you wouldn't know what he'd done. So they they shot it, and then if you watch the one that I think you're talking about, the first fight scene in the house where he dismantles the gun. With that, if you look, there are frames missing from that where they've slowed it down, so you can see kind of what he's doing. And in this, funnily enough, there's a couple of very short clips in this where they do the same thing, where they slow it down very quickly, because clearly he's so fast, you're not actually seeing what he's doing. And this is a movie made for him, but it's really well worth picking up. I mean, I think you'll love it. And so if you can find a copy over there, or if it does come out, and if you're like me, and we're kung fu fans, we like these kinds of movies, this was a real find, and a movie I will watch again and again and again. Is it up there with some of IP Man? Probably not quite, because that's got its own thing, but it's still very, very, very good and well worth seeing. And I love it how lucky are we, Deej, in these days of 4K, to find a movie that's an older film that we've never seen in this kind of quality. It's like a diamond in the rough. That's a quote for Aladdin, Captain. Anyway, and it's just very cool. Yes, he was, Rich. Yes, he was.
We talked about it. We watched that one.
We did.
Did you? Yeah, I know I watched it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did.
The worst Jason Statham performance, I think, of his career.
It is bad.
But it was still a fun movie. It was like, it was basically Jet Li's version of Time Cop.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But Jason Statham was what's
something.
it call it? Van Damme's character. Right. So
kind of.
well,
with the immortal line at the end. Sorry, Mikey. You law is nobody's bitch.
Yeah, it's like,
and said it Jet Li.
I don't think this sentence has ever been spoken. Van Damme outacted Jason Statham between those two movies.
I think, in fairness, there was scenery that was outacting Jason Statham in that film.
Yeah, the fake fern in the background.
Yeah, exactly. More charisma. Yeah, that's an odd film. I'm sure he hates that movie. I'm sure if you mention that
movie,
to Statham,
but him, it's just like, oh.
Yeah, I suspect if you meet Jason Statham and you say really enjoyed the one, he'd probably just punch you in the face.
Yeah, duck incoming.
Yeah, where? Yeah. So he well, quite. You say bees, he's fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ooh,
I'm not.
Yeah. By the way, I didn't put that in, Deej. I have rewatched The Beekeeper in 4K. Lovely disc. Lovely disc. Yeah. Anyway, I haven't got that on my list, but that's a great disc.
You're cruel.
Yeah, I can only apologize.
Oh boy.
So there we go. Yeah, very cool. This one, very cool. Keep that in mind, Deej. Pick that up if you hear about it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And it's I'll be looking for it for sure. All right, this is my last one. And this one, hot off the presses. Dropped today on Kaleidoscape. Bad Boys Ride or Die, the latest installment, dropped on Kaleidoscape today. 4K HDR, HDR Yeah, HDR10. I didn't check to see, because if you see the graphic up here now, it's so new, they don't even have the write-up in yet. It just says the title without the synopsis or anything. I've actually bought stuff and they didn't have the image up yet. It just have like a gray square. Like if you're looking on YouTube right now, instead of having the poster art, it'd just be like a gray square, like, okay, coming soon. Because, I'm really excited. You get up in the morning, check and see what's available, and I buy them so quick, and then I get my emails and advertisements from Kaleidoscape later, and they're like, buy this. I'm like, come on, people. Track me, will you? It's like, I already got it. And you know me, I'll try to buy it again.
Yeah. I'm surprised this has hit home theater so quickly. Even Kaleidoscape, I'm surprised, because it's still a big hit.
I thought the same thing, Steve. It came out June 7th. It's been almost 2 months.
Hit. Yeah. Oh, right.
But it's been almost 2 months.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
June 7th, and we're at the end of July. So I bet you this is like the 45-day window. And so it was a rainy day. I got my stuff done, and I was able to take this in. And it's a Sony disc, and it delivers. Lots of great bass, lots of great surround sound, Steve, you're going to love the gunshots. You've seen this, right? Did you see this in the theater?
Not yet? I've seen 1 and 2 and 3. I haven't seen this one. I've got them all in 4K apart from this.
Yeah. I would still say 2 is the best home theater experience so far. It is. It's got so much. It's such a ridiculous action movie and so much fun. It's longer, too. I think 2 is almost 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. Yeah, it
something
is.
Like that. Yeah. This one's I think this one's a tight 2 hours, something like that, right around there. A tight 2 hours, right? But it's a fun, like I said when I saw it in the theater, it's a fun buddy cop film. It's a fun, like, they've bonded at this point. There's homages to both of these characters' personal lives and issues they've had.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like I think you'll have a hard time picking up the Will Smith homage, but the Martin Lawrence one is like right there out in Front Street, pun intended. You'll see that, but aside from that, the story it's a bad boy story, but the 4K, the HDR on this, there are some shots like. If you're familiar with a Bad Boys movie, they always go to like the cityscape of Miami and stuff, and you get the beautiful sunset. So you've got the sunset with the pinks and whatever, but then you have the lit building skylines and everything. Steve, almost every single one of them was like 3D. It was the image quality was so good. It's like when you're watching, like you put on like your Apple TV and watch some of the screensaver stuff, and you're like, it's just insane. You're just sitting there going, this is gorgeous. And some of these scenes, you're like, wait, I'm not done yet. Don't get back to the movie. This looks so good. Yeah, it's like, because it's shot so well. Like, you've got the bright lights of each individual building, right? But then you have whatever skyline. It could be a daytime skyline. It could be a nighttime sky or a sunset, dusk type skyline. Just beautiful. But then it feels like you could reach in the screen. But then the entire movie itself is shot so well with you've got the the pastel colors of being in Miami. It's like what it's synonymous for. It's like going all the way back to Miami Vice, and just the imagery. And then you add in the gunshots, and there's some chase scenes in the woods and the lush greens and everything. It's just beautiful. It's And again, it's a buddy cop film. It's fun. It's funny, but the audio and the video experience greatly enhanced. You're gonna love it. I think
it's a Sony movie.
That's what I said. It's like it's just you can't go wrong. Remote lit up a bunch of times on the bass. Some of it with gunshots. Some of it with the score. And undertones of like what's going on the scene on the screen, and setting the mood. There's a helicopter scene where it's spinning in your room. The rotors are going around the room because it's out of control. You have gunshots going. Characters are moving around the room. not the way they should be, but they're falling inside a falling helicopter. I mean, there's just so much fun stuff in that scene. It's just, a lot of fun. Probably, I'd say it's my third favorite, but it's really good. The third one I didn't like as much as this one. I think
it's directed by the same people. I think it's two brothers, isn't it, that directed that and this one?
And this one, yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's the same.
I did read on IMDb the director of the first one, of the first
Michael Bay.
He is in this one, and he's in the same Porsche that Will Smith is driving in the first one.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, and he's right there on camera. It's like, you'll see the scene, and it's like, I noticed him right away, and I was like, yeah, that's Michael Bay. Like, I didn't remember like it was Michael Bay when I saw it in the theater, but I'm like, I know him. And then I read it on IMDb that it was like he is driving, and then what he's driving is the exact same Porsche. Well, not the exact same, but the model, But yeah, so he was in this, but yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Wasn't he briefly in Bad Boys 2 as well? Doesn't he pop up in that briefly?
Well, probably he was directing.
Yeah. I think he's in that song. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure he is. I mean, he does drop it. I mean, he's in Armageddon. He's in that, and of course, he directed that as well. So he does like to drop in occasionally.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm glad that it's good. I mean, I expected no less really from Sony.
Yeah.
So there's no release date here on Amazon that I can see, but hopefully it's not too far away.
It should be. I would guess 60 days max. We should be getting this.
So end of August, September time, something like that.
September, I'd say somewhere around the end of September, just as a guess. And one other reference, Steve here, I don't like to toot my own horn, but we failed to mention this, or I thought of it after the show. Remember a few weeks ago, I noticed how they were putting in the HDR10 on Kaleidoscape, and I said, maybe, Dolby Vision is coming soon. And here it is. It came last week with the Strata V, right? And it was like, and now I started looking, and I'm like, yep, it's starting to show up. It's offered in, Dolby Atmos. I've seen a couple of movies so far that it's getting Dolby Vision. I'm sorry, not Atmos. So it was like, when you see that, like that little bit of a thing, I'm like, all right, Dolby Vision's got to be coming soon, because why else would they be saying HDR?
Differentiating, yeah.
And HDR10. That was the one that triggered it for me, is that I was like, wait a minute, they're saying it comes in HDR10, so they're going to start adding different ones, which I think is pretty cool. And we saw that coming, and it was like, hey, look at that. I was right. It's not often it happens around here, Steve.
Well, there we go. And like a stopped clock is right twice a day.
I was going to say a broken clock's right twice a day.
Yeah.
I can't even do that.
Well, yeah, you got to get up early around here to beat me on that one.
Yeah, exactly. I can't get that right. So, yeah, blind squirrel finds a nut. Yeah, every now and then. So, all right. Are we? Which one do you want to do? Do we have time to do both of your last ones?
Yeah, go on. Look, because I do. Yeah.
Which one do you want to do? Do you want to do?
Let's do the.
Do you want to do this one quick?
One. Yeah.
Do that one quick.
It'll be quickish.
Oh boy.
The last one will be quicker. Because we've talked about the movie already. That's just about the HD experience. Yeah, this might take a little while.
For everybody out there, you might be watching the time, because maybe this one will be to be continued. Going back to our Utes.
Yeah, it could be.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so this is Longlegs, a movie that in theaters. This is not. Again, apologies for the thing. It was the only one I could find.
I'll zoom in on it for you.
Yeah, so this is in theaters. A horror movie, stroke psychological thriller, stroke police procedural that is gaining a lot of notoriety, and it's gaining a lot of notoriety because it had a massive opening weekend, and it's had a lot of people saying, scariest movie of all time. And, it clearly wants to be Silence of the Lambs. And that's kind of what it's aiming after. That's what it's going for. And it's missing it. So, because a lot of people, though, really, really like this film. And I went to see it last Friday night with a friend. And we saw it, and I gave it a chance. And I was disappointed with this because, so the movie is a strange one. It's a movie about a female FBI agent. Again, Silence of the Lambs, anyone? Female FBI agent who is on the trail a serial killer, Deej. And this serial killer may or may not have sort of strange powers, and there may be some sort of supernatural side to it, and on it goes. It's set in the 90s as well, which again evokes Silence of the Lambs. And the issues I have with the movie are, I have problems with the filmmaking, I have problems with the storytelling, and I have problems with the verisimilitude of the procedural nature of it as well. So, and I'm not going to spoil it, but I just there's some things in here I've got to say. So, firstly, right,
get ready, everybody.
The movie's got a problem, I would say. Yeah, a movie's got a problem in terms of filmmaking, where you get to Act 3, and you require a voiceover from a character to tell you what's been happening. Not on screen, it's a voiceover to tell you this is what's been happening up until now. Oh. And that just is it. And that says to me, test audiences or people we've shown it to didn't know what the hell was going on, and we haven't been able to shoot anything more. So we're going to have to just get someone and do a bit of ADR and tell everyone what's been going on. So that's a big problem for a movie. Cinema is supposed to be show, don't tell, isn't it? Okay. And if you've got to tell someone, it's not working. So that's a big problem.
That's
secondly,
the show.
Yeah, well, and secondly, it doesn't need that voiceover for me.
That's why we have AC3 here to tell everybody his references.
Keep us going so we know.
Poor guy.
He's gone quiet. Actually, I hope he's still in the. I hope he's still here. Yeah. So
he's verbal closed captioning.
Yeah. It's so that's a big problem. Secondly, I was ahead of this movie every step of the way. The last time I saw a film,
don't you hate it when you're the smartest one in the room?
Well, I don't think I have to be for this.
No.
And the last time I saw a film that I think I had guessed it from frame one was Shutter Island. As soon as the thing emerges from the fog, I knew exactly what that was a metaphor for. And the same thing here. It's like as soon as you see it, I'm like, right, I know exactly where this is going. So that's a problem with the filmmaking and the storytelling. Now, the biggest problem, Deeds, and this sort of feeds into stuff we've talked about before, how if you're noticing this stuff, the drama's not working, right? So let's see. Let me test your procedural police knowledge, Deeds. Okay. So police officers, in this case, FBI agents, you'd like to think they're fairly well trained, would you not?
You'd think.
On two occasions in this, without spoiling it, FBI agents come across a crime scene or an exhibit, okay? Yeah. And they have the presence of mind to put on latex gloves. Why do police or FBI agents put on gloves when they're handling exhibits?
Not fingerprints, tampering the evidence, all that.
Okay, good. So no cross contamination with their prints and preserving evidence of DNA and other prints.
Epithelials.
Yeah,
learn that in
skin cells.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. So that's why they do it. Okay, and in this movie, they put those on. So you're thinking, right, great news. Okay, good. That makes sense, and that's what they're doing. But then, on both occasions, they then destroy the crime scene and the exhibit straight away. One of them's a letter that they pick up with gloves and then start drawing on the letter and highlighting certain things on the letter, which is just like one. So that's one. They did it once, and then the second time go to a crime scene, which is a preserved area, and then immediately start digging it up. No photographs taken. No one bothers to check any of that. Oh, no. And then just start destroying it. And I noticed that. And okay, I appreciate I do a job that means I have to notice this kind of thing.
Yeah, but we do too.
Yeah, well, quite.
The general public is so, like, we're so much, I don't want to say smarter, but so aware of all of this stuff now that you can't skimp on this information when you're making a movie because it ruins the credibility, to your point, of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, like, come on, I know better.
Well, that's exactly it. Now, again, the reason I'm noticing that is because the drama's not working, and I'm not engaged with it. Nicolas Cage is in it. You can see that there. He is playing the serial killer. He's been on all over the news about that, and he's just doing Nicolas Cage. He's not doing anything new that I haven't seen before. And I was just very underwhelmed. Now, I think it might just be me though, Deej, because at the end, when I got up to go, and a friend and I got up to go, woman behind turned to her friend and said, "That's the scariest thing I've ever seen." I didn't say to her, "I've got such sights to show you." If you think that's scary, but boy, did I think about it.
Yeah.
And that's that captain is a quote from Hellraiser. Anyway, so
poor guy. We're basically doing Fall Guy for this poor guy.
Yeah, we are Fall Guy for the poor guy.
Yeah, poor guy's getting every we're that's that's the running joke in Fall Guy is they keep referencing movies and it's like and they have each person has to guess it and it's like that's basically what this has become and we'll probably do it from here on out. So you may want to pick a new name, Captain AC3.
yeah, we won't know then. Yeah,
because then it's not fun. We'll just call you that. So
yeah, I'm not sure we need him now. I think it's become its own thing. We'll just say that's a quote, Captain, from.
Yeah. Oh, we Captain, my Captain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it was disappointing, and I don't think I'll see this again. The only way I would watch it again is with someone else to see what their reaction is. But otherwise, I don't think I'd buy the 4K disc. I don't think I'll watch this again. And no one's more disappointed in that than I am because this is normally my kind of movie. But it just was not that great. And in terms of HT experience, obviously I saw it in theaters. It's low budget, so it's quite contained. There aren't big action scenes in this. I suppose there might be some kind of sub rumbles with the kind of the creepy, in air quotes, soundtrack maybe, but not enough to make this a recommendation from me. I was very disappointed with this, and frankly, Deej, I wish I'd seen Twisters instead because I could have gone to see that and actually enjoyed it rather than seeing this.
Yeah.
But there we go. I mean, I've seen it. It's normally my kind of movie, but I was very disappointed with this. And No Van Gogh, Evil Dead Rise is a masterpiece. 5 stars. This is
you're really hurting your credibility, buddy. Love you, but Jesus, a masterpiece.
Transformers.
Oh my God,
The Godfather, Deej.
Home theater wise, I stand by that, and I think you do too.
Yeah, I do anyway.
Out of context, you're going to do that to me? All right, gloves are off.
Them's fighting words.
Them's a fighting words, my friend. All right.
All right. So there we go. So yeah,
love you like a brother. Wait till I tell you what I think of my brother. No. No, love my brother. We got breaking news, Steve.
Yes,
coming from Jordan. Jordan Carpenter, breaking news. Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga Black and Chrome edition, will be getting an individual physical release, 4K UHD release by Warner Brothers Home Entertainment on 24th of September. So I thought of this when I was reviewing the 4K and talking about it and how, well, Steve, what do you think of this news first?
I'm looking forward to seeing it again. I genuinely want to see it again and hope I enjoy it more second time round. Because I didn't like it again. For those not caught up, I didn't enjoy the first time round in theaters. I did not like it. See, week before last with Shane Lee, and we had quite a long chat about that. It was not good for me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll pick this up day one. How about you? I mean, obviously you got it, so you're not going to be buying any more.
No. This is the Black and Chrome edition.
Oh, I see.
So
that'll come out in Kaleidoscape by then.
Yeah, it will. It will.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like. The original, Fury Road came out with a Black and Chrome. I didn't like that as much as I liked, what was it? Logan. Okay. That movie did they call it Black and Chrome in that one? I think it was, what did they call that one? But anyways, the same type. Noir. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
That one there, I watched a lot of the extras. I liked that one is Logan is I prefer that in black and white. And when you watch some of the extras, the way they shot it and the lighting for it, it was almost like they were shooting it for black and white. So if you're going to shoot in black and white, there's certain things like you need to get a high contrast. You need to shoot with a certain kind of lighting. Otherwise things come out flat. Okay. And obviously with HDR now, you can get some of that. You don't get some of it. You can have the best of both worlds because now your colors can pop and you can create more depth. Shooting in black and white allows the viewer to eliminate all the fancy colors, which literally is what it is. It's like you get amazed by your favorite colors or bright colors and vibrancy. when you take all that color away and you strip it down to the foundation of what we see, which is black and white, everything's based off of that. When you strip it down to that, you can really see you see depth, you see a lot of contrast and detail that you wouldn't see otherwise because you're so distracted by the color, right? So I think Logan really emphasizes that, and going through Logan and seeing the textures and seeing the depth in the it's almost like 3D. I felt like Fury Road, it felt like they took a normally shot movie and made it a black and chrome edition. Okay. Yeah. Whereas Logan, I feel like they shot it for black and white and they made a color version. Now, I've talked to many people that they prefer the 4K version better than the black or the noir version on Logan. To each his own. Okay. I know, and to give you some background, when you're going to school for stuff like this, you go to shoot, you don't shoot in black and white, you draw in black and white, so you don't have to concentrate on the colors. And it teaches you how to get that foundation so that when you lay the colors over it, you can get, you're drawing a round ball, you draw it with the shadows and everything first, and then you add the colors later, which is exactly kind of how our displays work. Everything's based off of your grayscale, and then the colors go over that. Okay. I'm not saying I'm not excited for this. I'm hoping it's a masterpiece, but I'm not, based off of Fury Road. I will buy it, of course, just like I own the Fury Road version. I'm not super excited for it. I'm not like I was with, like I am with Logan. Love Logan. But what do we got here? Who's this?
So Jordan, just slight correction. It says that apparently it'll hit individual 4K disc and PVOD on 13th of August. The September date is the Mad Max 5-film box set with the black and chrome edition. So there we go.
Cool.
But even sooner. So that's all right.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. So that means, I'm wondering, let me check. I wonder if it's, I doubt it would have popped up already, black and chrome on here. Furiosa on... No, not yet. There is no Mad Max Fury Road. Black and chrome is there, but not the other one. And the black and chrome on Kaleidoscape is in HD, but it is in Atmos as well. And I can upgrade for $3.14 because I have the 4K disc of that. And so, nice. But yeah, and same with Logan. So. But yeah, that's fun. And the other thing that I do like about it, even though I'm not as excited about it, I am excited that they do stuff like this, right? This is how you spark more sales, more interest, right? Like, oh, wait a minute, I can see it in black and white too. And for everybody out there, it's just a money grab. Yeah, no kidding. They're in the market to make money. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, don't buy it.
Unlike us, we have a Patreon account, but we don't talk about it. If you love us and want to support us, you can go there. But but yeah. All right. So thanks, Jordan. That's awesome. It's awesome to get some inside information. And for the people on Friday, it's not really breaking news when you listen to this audio only podcast. 4 days later. Yeah. Or if you're listening years from now and you're like, I just found you guys. Oh, there's a black and chrome edition.
Mad Max 12's out.
Yeah. It's Mad Maxine now.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready? Yeah, I know you're excited about this, Steve.
Oh yeah, I am. Oh yeah. Well, I can do this.
You're gonna be able to get it in time.
Yeah. No, it's okay because we don't really need to support the film.
All right, need to support the film. All right, here we go.
Okay, so this you know it's not easy to know from that image, but this is Alex Garland's Civil War on 4K UHD disc and in Dolby Atmos. I'm going to be quick with this because we haven't got a lot of time, and also we have talked about this movie before. And I remember you talking about the Kaleidoscape version. Deej, you'd seen that. I'd seen the screener and was really looking forward to the 4K disc, and now it is here. And those that tuned in last week or have listened to last week's show will know I talked about this week. I would talk about a movie that is one of, if not the 4K disc of the year for me so far, and this is it.
Breaking news.
Yeah. Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
So this is and the movie the movie is really, really good. This is my second time watching it, and I was more absorbed this time even than last time. But much of that was because of the increase in quality of what I was seeing and
The
hearing.
enhanced home theater experience.
Oh yes, all day long. Yeah, very much so. This is for me, and I know that there are some in the chat who believe there's a better version out there, and there may well be. In the US disc is a bigger disc apparently, and than the UK one. So I haven't seen the US disc, but based on the UK disc, this is reference video and audio. It is a new type of image quality from anything I've seen in 4K before. It is a thing of beauty. And
I think Shane and I talked about this months ago when when he talked about it as well on the show, not a couple weeks ago when he was on. I had him on at a different time, and we were talking. He loved it as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's exceptionally good. And all the things that you'd expect would cause problems. So there's an opening shot of an aerial shot over I think it's supposed to be New York. There's an aerial shot over New York. And normally you'd expect, moiring and fizzing and fitzing on the windows, some anti-aliasing stuff coming up. You'd normally see a little bit of grain here and there or anything like that. There's none of that. And interestingly, when you boot the disc up, you get this is an animated menu. There is that shot is in the animated menu, and it's all fuzzy and grainy, and you think, oh god, it's not going to look like that, is it? And in the movie, it doesn't. So it's razor sharp from second one, and all the things that you'd think would be bad. So when you get night shots, you'd think, oh, it's going to look noisy. It looks perfect. And there are a couple of sequences in this in particular that I'll very quickly mention. I'm not going to give timestamps because I don't want to spoil it, and I haven't got them. One is
you're not supposed to give that part away. You're just supposed to come off as a good guy. Like, I don't want to spoil anything. Not that you didn't do your homework.
That's
come
on. Honest teach.
Yeah, exactly.
So there is a scene of self-immolation where the flames creep across someone, and it looks ludicrously three-dimensional. And I mean, you can reach into the screen. It is crazy.
Yeah,
how three-dimensional it is. And I said on Twitter at the time, and I'll reiterate here. I said it to you earlier. It felt like to me at times that the Planet Earth crew, that filmed these hyper-real 4K documentaries, had gone and thought, you know what? Let's not do nature anymore. Let's do a drama. And the way they shot some of this with these slow motion shots is just incredible. And there's another one later on where you've got where they're driving and there's a forest on fire, and you've got the embers of the fire going around, which is all real, by the way. None of that is CGI. It's all real. And they shoot it in slow mo, and these embers are moving, and it feels like three-dimensional space. Yeah. And
I feel like I said the same thing.
Yeah, I think you did. It's why I can't go back to 3D movies, Deej, because I don't need to now. You can get in movies like this in 4K and HDR. Yeah. Oh,
you and I debated that a couple of years ago. And I was like, 3D is good. And then you're like, but they're getting so good at shooting these things. It's
quite. So it looks fantastic. And then again, it sounds phenomenal as well. And there are pitch battles in this, in kind of apartment blocks where you've got the echoing of the gunfire. And the gunfire sounds really, fairly realistic. It's pop, pop, pop rather than, bang, 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 but it still sounds great. And then you get an action sequence at the end with an assault on the White House. It's in the trailer. I don't think it's a surprise. It's an assault on the White House where it just goes bananas. And then you've got armored vehicles, you've got tanks, you've got small arms fire, you've got rifles, you've got a shootout in the streets with all the echoes and everything else that's going on there, and then shootouts in passageway and hallways, and the echoes are different to that. The sound changes, and it's all because it's done with an eye to a kind of verisimilitude, this idea of it's this is what it would be like if you were on the ground and you were with them. You get all the movement of all the noise and the confusion and the sonic chaos that comes from that. It's awesome. This for me, and now DJ, I'll admit I haven't seen Dune 2 at home yet. I've got it, I just haven't seen it. But for me, if you said to me, Steve, pick a disc, we're over halfway through the year, pick one. This for me is head and shoulders above everything at the moment by a fairly significant distance in terms of jaw-dropping video and excellent audio. It's fantastic. So, and I get that again. There is. I mean, John says, good old John, that the US desk has got a 42% higher bit rate. I mean,
data rate.
I haven't seen it again. I haven't seen it. Sorry, data rate.
That's interesting.
Yes, I haven't seen it. Can't compare it, but I can't imagine it looking much better than this. It's stunning. Yeah, it really is. So there we go. Very, very good.
Yeah. So getting back to like disc of the year thing, I can't argue with you. I've seen both. But here's what's interesting to me is, does Dune 2 get slighted because it's Dune 2? And we've seen like Dune 2 is excellent. I would say it's better than Dune as a home theater experience. But we've had Dune, and Dune was amazing. I wasn't that disc of the year that year, and it's because we were just like, if I remember right, if it wasn't 1, it was 2. It was absolutely amazing. And now we get, as soon as we saw Dune Part 1, we knew we were excited for Dune Part 2. And that by the end of the movie, you're like, I can't wait for that experience, because it was amazing. And if you remember, we saw Dune Part 1 at home because they released it on HBO Max. But does that get some like, been there, done that, even though it's an amazing experience? It might actually be better, but we've seen that. Whereas this is it's a different it's a different movie, so you're excited about it, and it is a great home theater experience. Absolutely. But here we go. You can't go wrong with either of them. No, and that's what's fun about when we do that show at the end of the year, and we talk about all the different experiences, and people, and you get the chat argues, and then you get the afterwards, like, how did you forget this? It's like, that's what's so much fun, is there's so many great experiences. And it's like, we've got moons crashing into the earth. We've got, and when we forgive that, and it's like, because we get to hear it. And it's like,
and we've got drones, and we've got hovering in 3D space.
We got drones. Yeah, we got drones bouncing off the walls. Our pets are dying. Our pets' heads are falling off.
Yeah.
Come on, Captain. What was that a reference to?
Yeah, let's put it to the test. No, it's very, very cool. I was blown away by this. And I mean, John's saying, the US disc is, the UK disc is 66, the US is a BD 100. John, just before we will mention it, shall we, Deej? Might as well.
Yeah.
We checked. So just before we came on air, we were talking about this, and Deej and we looked at the Kaleidoscape file. Yeah. And that is 60 something gig.
I think it was 61.9 for the Dolby Vision, 61.5 for the HDR 10 and the SDR. And so, but here is one thing that's interesting is I'd like to get a hold of the UK, the American version on the Blue on 100, and I can rip it here and look at the file and see how large it is. And then you could see, it's like, I don't know, maybe, I trust John Thompson with this information, so maybe we have, and it's very possible that we get an upgrade on Kaleidoscape, because that happens all the time. It's like, I remember Todd and I did a review. We were so excited about Ambulance, and we're like, this is an amazing disc. It's amazing picture. It's amazing sound. It's like, it might have gotten referenced if it was a better movie, but it was just so much fun. And literally hours after we recorded that, we both get the alert on a Kaleidoscape that it just got upgraded for better sound. Like, what? Like, what did they do? And it could be something that they, the studio tweaked something or something like that just to adjust, but we get those all the time. So maybe that'll happen. I don't know. That'll be interesting. So
yeah, well, it would, because it's incredible as it is. So it'll be absolutely amazing to know what, how it can be better than what we've already got. But there we go. Just looking at the time, Deej.
I know.
I got, yeah. Sorry,
Look at that. There's some timing for you, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Steve's got a very busy day tomorrow. Not a lot of sleep, and he needs to be on his game because literally people's lives are hanging in the balance.
7 witness trial, if anyone's wondering.
Yeah. If I screw up, the bumper just doesn't match the car, or I fall off the roof of my house, which is where I'm working right now. But so maybe if I don't fall off the roof, I'll have an update next week. So, but yeah. So all right. Thank you, everybody. We got to get out of here for Steve, so we're getting out pretty quickly here. It's not going to be a lot. Thank you. Like I said before, if you love us, Patreon, go. You find us in the show notes, wherever. Support the show. Don't support the show. We'll be here regardless. So have a great week. We will be back next week. I don't know what I'm going to watch. Do you have anything on tap that you're excited for?
Only a little movie called Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, I'm seeing it twice.
No, yeah,
I'm gonna try.
Well.
Yeah. That's not a home theater one though, but maybe Steve, maybe we'll be lucky and it'll stink and they'll drop it early for me. I doubt it.
I think that's unlikely.
Yeah, I know.
I've got plenty of good stuff to watch as well this week, so we'll have some good stuff for next week.
So, all right, everybody, thank you very much for watching, participating, listening on the audio only. Really appreciate that. Rate, review, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. 5 stars, greatly appreciated. Haven't said this in a while. And Steve's like, why is he still talking? I got to go to bed. All right, what do you got to do?
Go push play. What he said.
That's right.
Hey, Fred.
This has been a Hey Fred production with theme music by Jeff Bernhardt and Throne Vault Productions.